BookTube, welcome back to my channel. A few days ago, I wrote a blog post citing some good and some bad examples of mothers in books that I'd read recently. And today, I'm going to share with you some of the examples of really bad mothers, bad moms, terrible moms. Moms who make me glad that I don't live in fiction. I would have tried to rate them, except that the things that make these moms so terrible are things that just can't be compared. Like, how do you say that one mother is better than another when they're both terrible? So in no particular order, here are 5 bad moms in literature. The first example is The Mother from Here Comes the Sun by Nicole Dennis Benn. This novel was set in Jamaica, specifically the western part of the island, which is where I'm from, which is probably why the novel affected me so deeply. The story follows a mother and her 2 daughters. The adult daughter works in the tourist industry, and the younger daughter is a high school student. The mother provides for them by selling souvenirs in the craft market, but she is just as willing to trade her daughter's innocence for American dollars. That makes her a terrible mom in my book. Bad mother number 2 is The Mother from Everything by Nicola Yoon, which is also another Jamaican writer. I wonder if that's a trend. The main character is Maddie, who has the skid disease, which means that she spent her entire life clustered in her room because she's allergic to everything in the world. Everything except her mother and her nurse. So her room is whitewashed and her entire environment is sterile, so her limited contact with the world is through electronic connectors. The way her mother reacts when Maddie decides that she wants to make her own decisions about her life going forward and what happens afterwards makes her the ultimate example of a bad mother. I recently read The Testament of Mary by Colm Toibin, and whether you're a Christian or not, you've probably heard about the historical Jesus. He was considered the light of the world, and the fact that he was crucified because of what he stood for is what has cemented his place in history, even for unbelievers. But this book is supposed to be narrated by his mother, the Mary of the Virgin Mary that we have heard about and laud. And according to her, he wasn't who everyone says he is, which means that she is also not who everyone says she is. But it's what she talks about when she talks about what happened on the cross. She disproves his miracles. She resents the provisions he made for her to live out her years in Ephesus. And the fact that she isn't satisfied by what has happened to her. So she writes this tell-all, basically trash talking her son. I mean, even if Jesus wasn't who we believe him to be, like, do we want to hear this smack from his mother, the person who should support you unconditionally? I mean, I think this makes her a terrible mother, whether the story is true or not. Then we have Gran from the Roanoke Girls. She is the mother figure in a house where young girls cycle in and out through the house without their own mothers, and what she allows to go on under her roof, well, it is just awful. So in the novel, a young girl named Allegra is missing, but not before she's carved her name into every piece of woodwork she can find. It's a tale of misleading family pictures and an old-fashioned carousel that makes you think the old people are comforting and harmless, but ultimately, Gran is a terrible, terrible mother figure. Then there is A Mother from Rainbow Rowell's Eleanor Park. This is supposed to be a sweet young adult novel, but there is nothing sweet about what Eleanor endures in her home while her mother is around. I mean, she's abused, she has to use safety pins to secure her clothes, and her relief comes from outside the home, from Park, who is just a kid himself and who is unable to give her the things that she's supposed to get from her mother. So Park, with his music, shows Eleanor that this other world exists. Even though it's so easy to get caught up in what Park provides to Eleanor, it's also important not to forget that she doesn't get any of that support from her mother. Any mother who doesn't just fail to protect her kids, but also willfully exposes them to abuse is a terrible mother in my book. These are just 5 examples of bad mothers in fiction. There are some really bad mothers in the world and in fiction, but I'm happy to say that there are great ones too, and my mom, Mrs. Lorna Wright, is an ultimate example of a rock star, unconditional, supportive mom. My mom has been supporting me my whole life. I haven't always been the best daughter, but she's always been in my corner, and so I know that there are great moms. I know some of you who are watching are probably really great moms and have other great moms in your life. So my next video, I'm going to share some of the really great moms that I've read about recently. So if you want to take a guess at some of the moms that I'm going to include, or if you want to suggest some moms for me to include, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.